Not making the same mistake as last time. My mic is on this time. Hello. I'm back to finish my Topster because I thought that I could do it all yesterday, but apparently if you're talking about several hundred albums, um, even like one or two sentences each, it really adds up in amount of time it takes. So I am back, and we're a little over halfway already. So hopefully this will be a slightly shorter stream than yesterday. I think yesterday ran about 3 hours, which I don't want to be live for that that long today. I've got some stuff to do around the house, but hopefully we can just get this going and through pretty quickly. How are you guys doing? Is the sound all right? Are the visuals working properly? Um, and how many of you were not here yesterday? I'm curious. In the meantime, let me get my end set up. Let me drink a bit of water. All right. So, where did we leave off yesterday? We left off, right. We left off with the new number one. I moved up Mount Erie by the microphones to the top. And how am I feeling? I'm just going to look over this whole thing, this whole Topster, and see how I'm feeling, see if anything needs to change now that I've had some more time to look at it. I was kind of cooking. I don't think there's much of anything that I don't agree with now. No, I think this is good. Yeah, no, I feel okay about this. So, I guess let's just get back into it with... So we were at M with Mount Erie. That puts us at... Alright. M for Mob Deep. Which is... The infamous, obviously, is one of the best 90s rap albums. Obviously a classic. It's one that, like, similar to some of the other stuff here, doesn't quite, like, have a personal impact on my life or anything. So it's gonna go in the bottom section of, like, I'd like to see it make the list, but it might not. But I do love it a lot. So I'm gonna throw it around Jockstrap, I think. And then from there, from 2023, Model Actress with Dog's Body. Another really great album that is, like, it's a little tiny bit derivative. Like, it's definitely, like, kind of Shoo, kind of Nine Inch Nails, but they really do a lot of cool stuff with it. It's just kind of peak modern industrial. And I think I'm gonna crash my Chrome, apparently. Whoop. Let's try this again. I don't know why that happened again. That happened yesterday as well. Okay, let's make sure everything is still here. Yeah, everything's still here. I don't know why that happened, and I need to figure out how to change my input device, actually, because I don't want it to show my stuff. Browser source, maybe? No, not browser source. Sorry, I'm messing with OBS right now to figure out how to do this. Close. Oh, here we go. Oh, that looks a little bad. I guess it's okay. Yeah, let's do this. Move it around a little bit. Oh. Why? Oh, there we go. Let me shrink this a little bit. See, the problem for me is I am streaming from my main monitor, which is a 16 by 10 resolution. Like, it's 1920 by 1200 rather than 1080p. And so it will always cut off the top and bottom when I'm streaming, which sometimes is okay. Like, it was fine when I was doing the full window because of the taskbar and the top section would get cut off. But right now, it means that there's going to be always a little white bar at the top. But I'm not covering any of the Topster, so that's good. Alright, this Model Actress album, I don't return to it as much as I would have thought when it came out. So I'm going to put it in the lower section, but I'm going to put it still pretty high in that section. I'm going to throw it between Punisher and 100 gecs. Next up, the Mountain Goats, who have a lot of great records. I love a lot of their stuff, pretty much all of it. But there are two standouts to me. There's the Sunset Tree and All Hail West Texas are like my one and two. And I think the Sunset Tree is the one that does the most for me. I really love the kind of like dirty tape recorded sounds of All Hail West Texas and all the stuff prior to it, but I think the songwriting and the aesthetics of the Sunset Tree are just kind of unmatched. So I'm gonna put this here. I'm going to move it. Oh boy. Gonna put it below Kraftwerk, above JID. All Hail West Texas is peak. Yeah, you're like the third person to come into my chat with a worry, with a worry profile picture, by the way, which is telling. Okay, now, so do we consider the Microphones and Mount Eerie to be different projects? Because I'm only doing one per artist, and Mount Eerie and the Microphones are both just Phil. And also, the Microphones album is Mount Eerie, like it is the bridge point between there. So I think I'm going to disqualify Mount Eerie material. But if I wasn't going to, then their album from this past year, Night Palace, is definitely at least in this section and might even be in this section. It's amazing, fantastic. But since we're not doing that, let's move on with My Chemical Romance, who isn't going to go up top here, is probably going to go in this section because there's just like, I don't feel as much attachment to them now as I ever did. But I love Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge. It is still their best, I think. Yeah, another Topster full of albums you should really listen to. But now you get to watch it be built, so you can hear explanations of why you should listen to them. So this My Chemical Romance album it meant a lot to me at a time. In fact, I think that's going to be enough to put it in the same section as 100 gecs and Phoebe Bridgers. Maybe a little lower. I'm going to put it here. Yeah, that's where I'm, that's what I am feeling with that. Now an album that I hope some people have heard because I think it's pretty underrated. Nana Grizzle with Love It, Love It, which is just this fantastic, cute indie rock album. It's under 30 minutes. A little folk punky. What is happening here? A little folk punky, but not like not aggravatingly so. There is a lot of folk punk that can be just kind of obnoxious. In fact, the connection to folk punk with Nana Grizzle is, I believe, what was the lead singer? Defiance, Ohio. Defiance, Ohio was the band that the main vocalist of this band is from. But I think this is better than anything that group ever did, and I am going to throw it at the top of this section, like right here. Silent Hill shirt. Yeah, welcome back. Hi. This shirt goes so hard. It was expensive, but it was absolutely worth it. All right, continuing on. Let's go. An absolute classic, another classic hip hop album to start us off. Illmatic. This one's going middle section, high up. This album, I would even put this above Mad Villainy. That's where I'm going. Yeah, I'm really happy with my top albums of 2024 because I really try to provide I try to be honest with what I enjoy the most. Like some of the stuff in my top section, like the Magdalena Bay, was like super popular. I was not telling anyone about this album for the first time, but I really enjoy being the one to tell people about an album for the first time, and kind of spreading the word on some underrated releases. So I did my best to pay attention even more than usual to those super niche underground things, to try and bring light to them. So that's why I had like the Nicholas Yar album right up top, why I had that Deep Fade album in the top 15, the Gao the Arsonist. I get a lot out of that, and it's not even specific to genre. Like a lot of the ones that ended up high are noisier, more abstract, difficult things, but I do try to pay attention to more underground pop music and stuff like that. So that's my goal with those videos, and I feel like I achieved it this year, which I am happy about. All right. Here's one that's probably not going to make the whole list because I haven't gone back to it, but if you haven't heard this, you should check out National Health of Cues and Cures, which is this fantastic kind of cover your ears. It's like this proggy, it's like Canterbury scene, like Soft Machine and like Caravan and that kind of thing. If I remember correctly, it's all instrumental, and it's just fantastic. It is so fun from front to back. I'm going to put it right around... I'm going to put it here. It's probably not going to make the whole list. I need to get back to it, but it is a lot of fun. Also, I forgot to do this. I did this yesterday. I'm going to link in the chat my Rate Your Music so that if you guys want to follow along, look at my 5 stars and kind of see what's upcoming, you can do that. I'm just going alphabetically, top to bottom, in my 5 stars, so it should be easy to follow. Let's go with Neurosis, metal band. Love Through Silver and Blood. I love Souls at Zero. But for me, Times of Grace, sorry. Times of Grace is their best record. It's ridiculously heavy. It doesn't sacrifice any of the atmosphere. I think for as much of a piece of shit he is, Ian Kelly's vocals here are the best they've ever been. So that's my favorite Neurosis album. I'm going to put it here. It's going to go in the lower section over Boredoms. Seems right to me. And then... in the aeroplane. That's all I need to type. There's not much to say. I already talked about this in one of my first and one of my biggest videos. I haven't listened to it a whole lot since then. I've listened to it a few times, and I still adore it. I love it. I'm going to put it in the middle section, right where it belongs, right next to Black Country New Road. Sing to God is fantastic, but there are too many great albums. I don't have that quite on the same level as all the other stuff here, but I adore Sing to God. Alright, it looks like my chat on my thing is changing and being... Oh my god. Oh wait, no. What the hell is happening? Sorry. Stuff is bugging a little bit, but it shouldn't be showing on your end, so I just need to stop reacting to it. And we'll pretend nothing's happening. Joanna Newsom. Fantastic discography. Everything she's done is excellent. Have One on Me is close, but I have to be a little basic and go with Yees or East. And now we come to the point where it's getting difficult, because these sections have now combined. So I'm going to have to be starting to take stuff off the bottom, I think, because I know I have at least this many albums that will still make it to the top section. But how do I want to go about this? So I'm going to put Ease here. It's going to go up higher. It's probably going to go around above Cryptopsy. I'm going to put it right below Station to Station, I think. Feels right to me. And then we're actually making good, fast progress. It's been, what, 20 minutes? And we're through a page of this, and there are 3.5 pages left, which, honestly, like, it's gonna still be over an hour and a half, I think, but we might keep it pretty tight today. All right, Nirvana. There's not much to say about Nirvana. I remember my biggest struggle with my second Mucor video was trying to find anything that you could say about Nirvana that hasn't been said. And honestly, I don't remember if I succeeded at that or not. I hope I did, but it's actually going to be one I don't talk about, which is the the MTV Unplugged, which is just like an obvious classic. And I'm not going to throw it up too high. It might not end up making the final list, but it is fantastic. It is going to go around no, I'm going to put it over Natalia Lafourcade. So it's probably going to get pushed down, but that's okay. Now an album, No Means No, with their only album I've heard still. I need to get more into them, but Wrong is one of the best punk albums of all time. Shout out to great Canadian punk rock. There is more of it than you'd think. I'm going to throw this up closer. Oh yeah, I definitely come back to In Utero more than Nevermind at this point. I think it is the better album. So I'm going to put this No Means No album. I'm going to throw it... Oh, man. There are so many good albums here. Do I like it more than the Dead Kennedys? I don't think so. I'm going to put it over Francis the Mute. All right. Jim O'Rourke, who, for all you Spotify losers like myself, is not on Spotify, but you need to seek his stuff out because all of it that I have heard is fantastic. I still need to listen to this live album, which contains a 45, I believe, minute-long cover of Fast Car. But my favorite from what I have heard is Insignificance, which is gonna go pretty high. It's this really fantastic kind of chamber singer-songwriter indie rock record. It's quite... like, stylistically, it's quite straightforward, but it's just so perfect. Like, every second of it is amazing, and it goes in some really interesting and cool places. I'm gonna put this up... Ooh. I'm gonna put this between, by the time I get to Phoenix, and Moment of Truth. Insignificance is a fantastic record. Speaking of fantastic records, and I hope Hi Hi's still here, because On the Might of Princes, I think I said yesterday that The Hotelier and La Dispute are the best emo albums of all time. And they are, but I think this is on the exact same level. If you haven't heard this, the album's called Where You Are and Where You Want to Be, and it is just perfect. Like there is not a song on here that isn't one of the best things I have ever heard. And especially like the opener and the closer are contenders for like top 20 25 songs of all time. So I am going to throw this below Pornography, above Court of the Crimson King, I think is where I feel with that. Amazing, amazing album. For Meg, yeah, you're right. For Meg is like one of the best. It is probably the best closer to an emo record ever. And then staying on the kind of emo, this time a little more violent. Orchid. Someone asked about this yesterday. And fantastic band. I mentioned yesterday I saw them live twice this year. Both times among the best shows I've ever seen. I'm going to put it around here. The album is Dance Tonight, Revolution Tomorrow. I think it's their best. It is also their shortest, and I think that actually works in its favor because they're able to go harder than they do other places without getting stale. On like they're doing more in a shorter amount of time, I think, than on their other material. So I'm gonna put this. It's not gonna go too high because there's such steep competition here. I'm gonna put it over Jason Isbell, I think. Feels right. And then we really didn't have much rap and hip hop representation yesterday, but it seems to all be showing up now because now we can do Outkast, who classic group, fantastic discography, but for me, Aquemini has always been their best, and I want to see it up around the same spot as Illmatic and whatever, but it might go a little lower around here where the dock is, so I'm gonna put it over Body Map and Bath, but below the Goslings. Feels good to me. And then we'll move on to... There's also a lot of punk today, although this is super pop punk. Paramore, who are probably the band who have been my favorite band for the longest span of time in my life. They, from the age of like 13 to like 17, they were just my favorite band. Like, there was never anyone else in that conversation for me. They are no longer that, but for me, the album that has always stuck with me and still I think is amazing to this day is Brand New Eyes, and I am going to put it quite far up because it means a lot to me, and I still think it holds up super well to this day. I'm gonna put it right... Ooh. I'm gonna put it in this section, actually. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the Boundo Core section. Ooh, here's a great metal album, Pig Destroyer, who they kind of have two amazing records, one great record, but for me, Prowler in the Yard, I think I like it more than Terrifier, which I think I'm actually gonna have to scroll down and get that. Oh, there's too many. No one report the stream. Prowler in the Yard is one of my favorite metal records of all time. It is just the perfect riff followed by the next perfect riff 20 seconds later ad infinitum. Like, it never ends how fantastic this record is. And I'm going to throw this in this section. I'm going to put it up. Oh my god. Yeah, no, this is going to go above Laura Marling. That's where I'm going to have it for now. Okay. Now, Pink Floyd. Sorry, hi. Yank Crime did fall off, unfortunately. I have not placed a Shoo Shoo record yet because I am going alphabetically by artist. So Shoo Shoo's going to come later, but they will be here. Thoughts on Blur. I think they're alright, but I haven't listened to them in a very long time. Like, at, at the latest, probably 2017. So, it has been 8 years. I'm sure I would like them if I went back to them now. I just haven't thought to. Okay. Favorite Pink Floyd record. It's always been a battle between Animals and Wish You Were Here. And I think I end up landing on Animals most of the time. It's just... It has the best David Gilmour guitar solos or whatever. Am I messing this up? I don't remember who is who in Pink Floyd anymore because I haven't been listening anymore. Yeah, best David Gilmour guitar solos. I think it's Roger Waters' best performances. And I'm going to put it... It might not even end up that high because there's so much competition here. In fact, I'm going to put it actually in the... I'm going to put it with Candlemass here. Next up, Pople Vu, who I've heard a few of their things. I had to listen to them for the ambient video I made a couple years back, specifically in the Garden of Pharaohs. But for me, less of an ambient record, but easily their best, is Hosiana Mantra, which is this beautiful new age album, which I haven't listened to enough times because my record player broke and my partner has this on vinyl, and I don't want to listen to it digitally because I've heard how good it sounds on vinyl. So I'm going to chuck this in the lower section. It's probably not going to make the whole list, but it is amazing. I like it more than... I'm going to put it here below Jane Doe, which is probably going to get cut from the list eventually, but... Oh well. Ooh, okay, big one. Portishead. So it's between Dummy and Third. Both are perfect records. Both are amazing. Both are perfect for very different reasons. Third is one of the most incredibly, like, out there and unique records of the 2000s. But Dummy is maybe my favorite album. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that it was one of the first albums I, like, fell in love with as a kid. Like, I've been listening to this album since I was at least 7 years old. And still to this day, there is not a moment on this record that doesn't just completely enchant me. So I think I'm gonna put it at number 1 for now, at least. But the Mount Eerie album is utter perfection. No, I'm putting Dummy here. It might get usurped. I might shuffle around some stuff when we finish. But yeah, I think Dummy is my favorite album. You're late, but you're not that late. Like, this is the second installment. So you missed the first half. I'm filling out the second half. Stuff is starting to get booted off the bottom because I have too many albums that I think should be here. Another album. So we've still got this section here for, like, Boundo Core, like some of my favorite albums ever. And one is about to get filled into that, and that is the Postal Service. Yesterday I put Death Cab for Cutie Transatlanticism here, which is amazing. I love it so much. And what I love even more than it from that same exact year is Give Up by the Postal Service. The best kind of indie-tronica record ever. Like, the best... Maybe even the best indie pop record ever. Like, there is not a dull moment on this whole thing. I love Ben Gibbard's voice on here. I love how he fits in with, like, he's leaving his more emo indie rock comfort zone, and he fits in even better over these like in indie-tronica instrumentals. And the lyrics here are so heartwarming and heartbreaking at the same time. I just love it so much. I'm gonna be uploading this Topster on Twitter, and I'm gonna upload both the and I'm also gonna upload it on my Discord, which you can get in through the Patreon. Anyways, Postal Service. What really sets this above and beyond for me is not only just how perfect of an album is, but how much seeing this album live 2 years ago is like the best show. Like, it's up there. It is one of the best concerts I've ever been to by a lot. So I'm gonna put this up around the Imogen Heap album. There was a sample of the Postal Service on a Lil Peep song. You have to listen to this album. This album is incredible. Moving on to one from this year, Prostitute. Attempted Martyr. Oh, there it was. This is one of the best noise rock albums of all time. And if you haven't listened to it yet, I put it very high on my year-end list. Thanks. Silent Hill 3 is probably my favorite video game ever. I might do a game Topster. If I finish this up fast enough, which it's looking like I might, I'm probably going to make a game Topster too, because that would be faster. And I think that would be a lot of fun. So, this Prostitute album is probably going in the middle section. And where in that middle section am I going to put it? I'm going to put it pretty high because I've still, even after making my list, I think I might have even put it too low. Like, it's still getting better and better and better every time I hear it. I'm going to put it... Ooh. I'm going to put it above Angels of Light. For me. Okay. Now another Boundo Core classic, and hopefully Baghead's here. I think Baghead likes this band, if I remember correctly. Pup. Oh boy, apparently Pup shows you everything with, like, purple mountains. But Pup is the band I've seen live the most times. They're one of my favorites ever. The best pop punk band that doesn't have Jeff Rosenstock involved. And for me, their album Morbid Stuff is pretty handily their best. I love every song on this thing, and it feels really, really tight. Even what is, like, considered their worst song, The Closer City, is, I think, amazing. And I am always baffled by the fact that people don't love that track. But all the other stuff on this, too, like See You at Your Funeral, Scorpion Hill, Kids, the title track, Sibling Rivalry, this is all off the top of my head, and it's all the best pop punk. At least the best pop punk of the 2010s that isn't Jeff Rosenstock. You really only like their first 2 albums. That's sad. That's sad. Now, The Dream Is Over is amazing. But I really love Morbid Stuff. So I'm going to put it right here with Brian Eno. I'm gonna move this Paramore album up one. That feels better to me. Jazz album, Sun Ra, with Languidity, here it is. Languidity. Maybe my favorite bass playing on a jazz record. It is so groovy. It is so just visceral without being noisy like free jazz is. I love how funky it is and how big like the sound of the record is. There are a lot of instruments interplaying at most times, but they do also know when to strip it back, and that's what really like sets it apart for me. I'm gonna put it around. I'm gonna put it between Mastodon and Francis the Mute. What's my favorite movie? I might make a movie topster. That I've actually never done, and I don't watch that many movies, but I watch enough that I think I could work something out for like a top 25 topster or something like that. All right. I want you guys to guess. I think I've probably said it before on my channel, but I'm going to let you guys guess what my favorite Radiohead album is while I take a sip of water. I didn't realize that Sun Ra is sampled on Through the Walls. That's cool. Yeah, you guys got it. It's in Rainbows, and it's pretty easily in Rainbows. And in Rainbows is going up, up, up here. I have fallen, not necessarily fallen out of love with Radiohead. I have a harder time justifying my relationship with Radiohead now that some things have happened with members of the band. And so, like, I still think Kid A and OK Computer are perfect records, but I don't have nearly as much, like, my emotional attachment to them has dwindled a little bit, but In Rainbows is an album so perfect that I don't think any action by any member of the band could like break my relationship with it. It is so beautiful. It is so perfect. It is the perfect art rock album, like the perfect kind of, I don't know, the perfect alternative rock album, I guess. It is so intimate. And I talked about it a couple years ago on my Mucore video. So probably my thoughts are more fleshed out there. They didn't necessarily do anything specific, but they are very, very proud Zionists, to a really annoying and obnoxious degree that makes it hard to stomach listening to them these days. But nonetheless, like, In Rainbows is perfect. All right. Rage Against the Machine, self-titled. The people get mad at me, but this is the best nu metal album. That's just it. Like, there are, you can call it like rap rock and whatever, but at the end of the day, like, nu metal exists because of this band and Korn, and obviously nu metal strayed very, very far, very, very quickly from this, but it's amazing, and I was very, very lucky to get to see them live. I think it was like their second to last show, probably ever. It seems like they're not doing anything anymore. And he had broken his leg, Zach De La Roca, and he was sitting down the whole time, and it was still the best thing. Like, it was one of the best, most intense shows I've ever been to. I caught the set list as well, which is like one of my most prized possessions, and my partner caught Tom Morello's guitar pick, so those are framed together. Yeah, so this album is gonna go right next to the Prostitute record. Oh, hi Quinn. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty great about this whole top row here. I guess I should be using my mouse to point, not my hands, because you guys can't see my hands. We're skipping soundtracks, so let's go. Les réalisés des nudes. Oh, I typed it wrong. That's what. I was like, do I need to put the accents? No. 77 Live. I talked about this in a Mucor one. One of the most mind-blowing things ever. The fact that this was recorded in the 70s is, like, utterly inconceivable. I want to look right now, just for reference, see what came out in 1977 when this was recorded. So let me go here. Year 1977. Okay, so 1977 had some, like, great experimental stuff. Low by David Bowie, Marky Moon, and whatever. But listen to any of this. Any of these records. All of them fantastic. I love every album that we've passed so far that I've heard. Listen to 77 Live. Oops. And tell me it's not absurd that this album exists. It is noise rock, like a full decade before noise rock almost. And it's so psychedelic. It is so mind-altering to listen to. I love it so much. It's gonna go right up with the Goslings for me. All right, 2.5 more pages even. We're almost done. Ish. That's still gonna be like another 40 minutes, but compared to how long we've been doing this, is amazing. I am Québécois originally, so my mon accent français c'est pas terrible. My actual French not very good. Like my vocabulary is not great. But I did have the accent ingrained in me from a young age. Let's go folk punk again with Ramshackle Glory, Live the Dream, which I loved a lot when I was hearing it. I was listening to this every day in 2022. This and another one that we'll talk about soon. And I think of those two Pat the Bunny records, I think this is my preference. It's gonna go pretty high. It's not gonna go in the top section anymore, but I am gonna put it pretty high. I'm gonna put this like, I'm gonna put it here, right above Lisa Germano, below Bloom. And then I don't have a lot, like, so one thing that's not going to show up here, besides this amazing Luigi Nono piece, I have not given enough time to classical music, so we're not going to have a lot of it on the Topster. But you can't ignore music for 18 musicians, because it's the stereotypical, like, online music nerd pick for classical music, but it deserves it. I haven't listened to it in quite a while, so it might not end up making the final list when all is said and done. But I'm gonna put it above Paul McCartney here. And then Steve Reich to Steve Roach with Structures from Silence, which is one of the absolute greatest ambient records of all time. Just utterly perfect space ambient. The first time I heard this, actually, it was on vinyl. I bought this record on vinyl before hearing it, because I loved the art and I heard it was great. And I spun the whole thing at 45 instead of 33 and didn't know, and I was like, wow, that was over so fast, but it was amazing. And honestly, it sounds just as good at both speeds. So if you have this album on vinyl, which you should, you gotta listen to it at 45 and just see. I'm gonna put it quite high. It's definitely one of my favorite ambient records. I'm gonna put it above Aretha Franklin. Alright, it's our boy, Jeff Rosenstock. You know which one I'm gonna put here. It's Worry. And Worry is going up, up, up here. I'm gonna put it right behind Fiona Apple. And like I said yesterday, Adults, my favorite punk album of all time, probably. But Worry means too much to me to not be up in the very top section. Shout out as well to the live album. I am including live albums on this list, but I think Worry just as a package is utterly flawless. And you can watch my Let's Get You Into Jeff Rosenstock video to find out why I think that. Here's an album from this year. Sam LRC, A Lonely Sinner, is also going very high because on top of being an utterly flawless record that I adore so much, it's also like a personal point of pride, like I mentioned in my my 2024 video. I remember I heard this when it had like a dozen listeners on Spotify, and I sent it to everyone I knew. And I know I'm not the one who like made it blow up or whatever, but it felt good to send this album all over the place and have it actually start exploding. So I'm gonna put this around I'm gonna put this below Pig Destroyer, above Laura Marling. You gotta listen to the Sam LRC album again then, if it didn't stick with you. I have not heard that much Stravinsky, and if I have, I couldn't like name it for you. I really need to get more into classical music. It's one of my goals, one of my kind of resolutions for this year is to do a little bit more digging, because it's very, very rare that I don't love a classical piece I hear, but there is so much. Getting into classical music requires a very different skill set and knowledge base than getting into any other kind of music. The closest one I can think of is jazz music, but even that is not as difficult because you just have to pay attention to the credits list basically on any album, see who's playing, and branch out from there. With classical music, there are so many more factors to spreading out. So I will actually probably hit you up for pointers, because it's something I'm very interested in doing, but it's a type of learning that I am not used to right now. So that's where I'm at with classical music. All right, this one. Let's go another artist who has a few perfect records. Nina Simone. So the three that I am going between are Pastel Blues, Wild as the Wind, and Little Girl Blue, which for some reason I have heard that she hates Little Girl Blue. Which kind of breaks my heart, because I think it's probably my favorite. It's super simple. It is a very simple vocal jazz record. But every song is just so amazing. Her vocal performance is so rich and so unique. And I think her vocal performance gets more dynamic on Pastel Blues and Wild as the Wind, but there's something so like heartwarming to me about Little Girl Blue that I think is going to put it over the top for me and have it go on my Topster. I'm going to put it quite high because I love, love, love this record. I'm going to put it above Transatlanticism. Right there. All right, Spiderland. is one of the first records I ever talked about on this channel in the first Mucor video, and I hold to it to this day. There was a time where my number 1 and 2 albums, and it was when I made that video, my first and second favorite album of all time was Skinny Fists and Spiderland. And Spiderland has grown off me a little bit. I still adore it. It's just not like the best music I've ever heard in my life. But I am going to put it quite high. I'm probably going to put it at the top of this section. That is Gavende at 36. I'm surprised someone saw that and recognized it. I adore that record so much, and no one seems to have heard it. Amazing Turkish, like, folk prog record, this one right here. I don't know how to say the title, so just look up Gavende, how Yosi typed it in chat, and definitely check that out. Is this the oldest album in the Topster? Let me see. Yes, by 6 years. Or no, by 8 years. Because I never loved... No, I didn't put I Never Loved a Man. And Abbey Road is gone. Wow, this is... Yeah. This is a full decade older than everything else on the list. Yeah. Honestly, you guys are making some pretty good points with Spiderland. I don't know why I was hesitant to put it up higher, but you are right. This does deserve to go higher up. Probably below All Bitches Die. Oh, now there's a gap here. That's annoying. But I think I can work with it. All right. Complete opposite end of the musical spectrum. Snowstrippers, who have never made it onto one of my album of the year lists proper because I didn't get into them in 2022 when this dropped and this dropped. But Snowstripper is one of my favorite current bands right now. I saw them live and it was absolute chaos. So much fun. And I'm gonna put this... I have to put it up here just because there's no gap at the bottom now. I'm gonna put this quite high. I adore this mixtape, April Mixtape 2. I'm gonna put it right here. That feels good to me. Fantastic group if you were into Crystal Castles before Crystal Castles became what we know them for more than their music now. This is that, but even better, and without the creep involved. So, listen, April Mixtape 1 is their worst album, and it's fantastic. So if you liked April Mixtape 1, you have to listen to the rest of their work. Yeah, so amazing. I'm glad Quinn's here for this. Songs. Oh, Hiya. Which... there are 2 albums here that are fighting for the number 1 spot, both of which if either one was on the list, it would be up near the top. That's Magnolia Electrico, which is like the obvious classic. But Ghost Tropic is very, very, very different for a lot of reasons. And I think I might like it a little bit more. Slightly. I just adore how dark and sad it is. Like Magnolia Electrico is a sad album, but Ghost Tropic is so sad and so beautiful. It is one of the best sounding folk records I've ever heard in my life. And I'm going to pick this one and I'm going to put it right up with Fiona Apple. Why isn't the aeroplane over the sea so low? It just, it hasn't necessarily grown off me, but I've just heard more that excites me more currently. What was that? What's next to Aquemini? This is the Goslings, who... Why am I blanking on the name of this record? The Goslings... Grandeur of Hair, which is one of the craziest, like, noise rock doom gaze records ever. Amazing. All right. Now, maybe my current favorite band, actually. One who's definitely eventually going to get the Let's Get You Into treatment. If I... Also, hang on. We've filled out the whole box. So now, any albums I add will be knocking stuff off the bottom. Which is sad, because there's a lot of fantastic stuff that I am almost certain is not going to end up on the final list. I do not have any Carissa's Weird, but it's because I haven't listened to them in a very long time. I am planning in the next couple weeks, maybe even like this week, to re-listen to Songs About Leaving. And maybe then it will click, because I loved it when I heard it, but haven't heard it since. So hopefully it clicks for me fully. Anyways, current favorite band, Sonic Youth, who have at least 3 perfect records in my mind. There's Daydream Nation, the big, obvious one, which is mostly impressive because of how abrasive it can get over such a long period of time without getting too difficult, too obnoxious, anything like that. There is Sister, which is kind of their post-punkier record. And then there's Evil, which is their tightest aggressive, like, pure noise rock album. For me, I think Sister is my favorite. They're all basically like a flat line equal, but Sister, if I'm remembering correctly, Sister is the one that has Schizophrenia, which is maybe their best song, Catholic Block, what is it? I'm blanking on the rest of the song names. Stereo Sanctity as well. I love this record so much. It really could be any 3 of these records. They're basically equal in my mind. But no matter what, one of them is going to be making it in this top section. I'm going to put it right below KO Dot, right above Law Dispute. Evil is a great record, but it might not be the best entry point. I would say the best entry point, despite not being my favorite album of theirs, is Goo. And then from there, work backwards. So what is the release order? So it would be Goo, and then skip the Whitey album, that's covers. So Goo, Daydream Nation, Sister, Evil is probably the way I would start getting into them, personally. Sonic Youth Son or Unwound Daughter, both are going to be on this list, I'll tell you that. Alright. Sophie. Pearl of... Why is this a GIF? What? Do you see this? This is moving. Alright. Oil of Every Pearl's on Insides is a masterpiece. There was a long time where I actually preferred Product. And I still think Product has her best songs, like Vizzy and and stuff like that. Bip as well. But I think as a whole project, Oil is just beautiful, just amazing. I think it's probably going to go in the lower section. It's probably going to go around Anna von Hauswolf. But it's still amazing. Also, it stopped... Did it stop moving? Yeah, it stopped moving when I put it on here, but now I feel like I'm hallucinating because it still looks like it's moving a little bit to me. Let's go with Sora. This is not going to be... Resort, which is this beautiful, kind of glitchy Folktronica record from 2003, which... I'll state again, is probably my favorite year for music ever. And if you haven't heard this, it's 40 minutes of the most beautiful, like, digital vacation music ever. And I love it a lot. It's probably going to go quite low. Maybe it's going to go a little higher, actually. Yeah, it's going to go closer to the middle. It's going to go around wrong because it's so beautiful. There is Boris on this list. Yeah, the one with Merzbow, their live record, which has all their best material except for Flood. Flood is my favorite studio record of theirs, but I can't deny just how amazing this is. It's the best version of most of their best songs up to that point. What else are people saying? It's amazing. Yeah, it's a big punch in the gut. Oil of every pearl's on insides. I've got the hiccups again. Why does this happen? All right. I think I've hopefully fixed it. Let's go old school industrial with SPK. Hopefully I don't have to... Oh, I'm going to have to type the... It's asking me for Regina Spektor, who is fantastic. Probably won't make the list, but... Lycanstry. There we go. This is just like 35 minutes of the most intense, beautiful, like crazy... Beautiful is a bad word for it, but to me it's a little beautiful. Crazy industrial music from Australia. Really, like, really dark, really oppressive. Hiccups happen because someone's thinking of you. Well, there's 38 people in the chat right now, so there you go. The live album is called Rock Dream. It is not on streaming, I believe. I have it on vinyl. All right, I'm going to put this amazing SPK album around here, above Ice Dancer. I believe they're Australian. Let me double check. Yeah, no, they're from Sydney, Australia. They were around between 1978 and 1988. Regina Spektor's a Zionist? Don't tell me that. Oh. That's really, really upsetting, actually. God damn it. Fuck. Alright, well, let's move on. Let's keep going. Sprain. Hang on real quick. I just have to check something. Okay. Sprain, the Llama's Effigy from a couple years ago. One of the best albums of 2023, which is one of the best albums since I got into music. I'm going to put it quite high-ish. Ooh. Yeah, I'm going to put it quite high. I'm going to put this between Mad Villainy and Illmatic, I think. And then, another classical piece. Although this one I'm not quite as attached to as Music for 18 Musicians. But Tabula Rasa, which is this recording of it specifically, the Arvo Part piece, is just incredibly beautiful. Actually, I think I like it a little, like, about the same as Music for 18 Musicians. I'm going to put it directly next to it. If you're not into classical music, listen to this. And especially, or if you are not into classical music but you like Music for 18 Musicians, this is still like minimalism, but it is a lot more spiritual. It is a lot more grandiose than Music for 18 Musicians. So if you like this one, you will like this one as well. So Tabula Rasa by Arvo Part. Look for one with this album cover. Is the record? At least that's the recording I've heard. And then, The Stooges, Funhouse. This album grew on me so much. I liked it when I first heard it, but I got really hooked on it earlier this year or earlier last year, and it has not stopped growing on me. It is so intense. It is so fun. It is so raw. This is going up here. Yeah, that feels good. Higher. Yeah. One of the best punk albums of all time, and the fact that it's like before punk music really kind of existed, fantastic. Amazing. And then it's been a while since we've had a black metal record. I do love a fair bit of black metal, but I think this might end up being the last or one of the last ones. Summoning with Stronghold, which is this beautiful blend of like super like crazy atmospheric black metal with early dungeon synth, and the result is like it's symphonic metal is kind of cringe most of the time, but I think the way that the dungeon synth tones on Stronghold sound with the guitars gives it this really unique feeling that I adore a lot. So this might be my favorite black metal record ever. Now that I think of it, I think this is my favorite black metal record. And so I'm going to put it right behind Mad Villainy, I think. More punk does need saxophone going crazy, yes. The Only Stooges. They're self-titled also, like, I like it, but it hasn't grown on me to the extent that Funhouse has. Funhouse is just so infectious and so much fun. Speaking of so infectious and has grown on me, this one didn't even have to grow on me. It was perfect first listen, but I like it more and more as time goes on. I hope Baghead's still here, because the next one is Sunny Day Real Estate. Diary is also fantastic, but for me, How It Feels to Be Something On is like the peak of kind of alt rock emo. I'm gonna throw this quite high as well. If you have not listened to the song Guitar and Video Games, it's swag, like Baghead just said. Swag album. I'm gonna throw this... It feels good next to the Heavenly album, I think. I have not listened to Mineral in like 7 years. I don't remember them, but I did like them. Okay. Swans. This is a really tough choice because we have already decided we are including live albums. So what does that mean? Do I... So here's what I'm working with. I'm working with my favorite albums from Swans are Children of God, Soundtracks for the Blind, Swans Are Dead, To Be Kind, and it's not here, but Deliquescence. So that's 3 studio albums, 2 live albums. And I don't know... Oh, yeah, Phoebe Bridgers is leaving. That's sad. I am sad about what ends up having to get cut off every time. But I think it is good that some albums end up... Like, a lot of albums end up getting cut off. Just because, like, it shows an evolution in music taste. And it doesn't mean I love these albums any less. It just means I have more music that I love. And so I think it is actually... good to see albums rotate off the Topster every year, and it's why I do it every year, to kind of track my evolving taste in music. How do I listen to that much music? I don't know. I honestly don't have an answer for you, especially like I feel like last year I listened to less music than usual and it was still like over 700 albums. So I don't have an, an answer for you. Um, so on Swans, I think what it is coming down to, I think I like Soundtracks for the Blind a little bit more than Songs Are Dead, and that's probably just exposure. Like I've listened to Soundtracks for the Blind a lot. Um, it's kind of a basic pick, but I think that is still my favorite, and it's going pretty far up, all the way in the top row. It might get bumped down as more albums because I see more albums coming up that are gonna be strong here. So I think, yeah, Soundtracks is probably my favorite. Now we're getting to the point where before I even pitch an album, I have to consider whether it's going to make the list at all. My favorite Elliott Smith is probably XO. It's probably not, it's not going to be on the list ultimately, but I do love that album a lot. What are people saying? You don't know where you could start with Swans, Pighead. Boy, do I have a video for you. Anyways, so next up we've got Sweet Trip with Velocity Design Comfort. This one, if it makes the list, it's probably going to end up getting cut off the list anyways, just because of how much I love every single album here. Sweet Trip is kind of a weaker link, unfortunately. I love this album a lot, but I don't return to it that often. Like, I think I like it more than Model Actress, but then it's just gonna get cut off anyways, unfortunately. Yeah, it hurts. It hurts to do that, but I do think I am more attached to the music above here. Next up is another one that's probably gonna end up getting booted eventually, but it is gonna go. It's gonna be in the bottom row, but it might make it, depending. Toxicity by System of a Down, the other best nu metal album ever. It's probably going at the... Oh, wait, what have I done? Oh, no. Hang on. I need to redo this. You have to put it here and then drag it. Yeah. This is getting really difficult. I'm gonna move here. This is what feels right to me. So it's standing a chance. We are on the second, we've got one full page of records left, and a lot of them are duplicates from the same artist, which if we're going one per artist, we're fine. So I think it stands a chance. Next we'll go Talking Heads, or we'll go Telking Heads. Talking Heads, it's Remain in Light. I think Stop Making Sense as a film, utterly perfect. The music itself, like, taken away from the visuals, sounds a little less amazing, I think, than their studio counterparts for the most part. So I think Remain in Light is my favorite. But if I do stick around long enough to make that movie Topster I was talking about, that will be making that list. So let's go Remain in Light, and I'm gonna put it quite high. I'm gonna put it above King Crimson. No, I'm gonna put it higher than that. I'm gonna put it above Laura Marling. Yeah. That's where I'm feeling with that. Next up, this one might not even make the list, but I want to shout out Mystic Styles by 3-6 Mafia. I don't think I like it even more than this Baby Huey album, so I don't think it's gonna make the cut. But one of the best, most important, most influential rap albums ever. Completely like defined so much of what became the biggest genre of rap music for a very long time in trap music. So massive, incredible album that you have to listen to if you haven't. I have seen Mad God. Mad God is excellent. Really, I wish there were less people in it. Like, I wish there was no like, I didn't like the live action parts. I found they detracted from the setting and the mood that I felt watching the rest of the movie. But other than that, it is basically perfect. Next up, here's one that not a lot of people know. Triana with this album, El Patio, which is this beautiful, where are they from? They're from Spain. So this Spanish prog band, this album came out in 75, and this is one of my favorite prog records ever. It is so unique, and the vocals in particular, the vocals and the guitar performances are out of this world, unbelievably good. I am putting this right up here with Gathering. Yeah, I think it looks nice next to the Brian Eno Here Come the Warm Jets. I think they flow nicely into each other. And then let's go. All right. Oh. So I've been doing a lot of thinking because Origin of My Depression by Euboa is maybe the most important album to my music taste ever. It genuinely, like, it is the first truly inaccessible album I found. And I also, it was another one that, like, this album blew up when Fantano reviewed it, but I remember I found it because it showed up on my recently released on Bandcamp in, like, February of 2019. And it completely changed my life. And I was wearing a Euboa shirt yesterday, yes. This album means an unbelievable amount to me. But Impossible Light from last year is, I think, a step up in every single way. Like, I think it is a perfect fusion of this and this, which I also think is a perfect EP, this Flesh of the World EP. And so while I haven't had the time to develop as emotional a connection to Impossible Light, I think it is the better album. So I don't know which one to put on here. But my gut is telling me to go with Impossible Light. My favorite EP ever. It would be this Adults by Bomb the Music Industry. I am. My gut tells me that Chrome is gonna crash again. Oh my god. At least this time I'd set it to capture window, so it didn't dox my background. Yeah, I think I am feeling Impossible Light. My gut is telling me that Impossible Light is going to stick with me. And if that is the case, I am putting it right up within Rainbows. Use Firefox. I should use Firefox, but the thing is, like, I have all of my stuff saved in Chrome, all of my bookmarks and everything. I've been using Chrome for, like, over a decade. Well over a decade, actually. So it's just not worth it to me to make the switch. All right. Another album from last year then, if moving on from Euboea. Ulcerate with Cutting the Throat of God, one of the best death metal albums of all time, easily. It's going to... So I said I liked it at least the best death metal since Gorgut's Colored Sands. I think I like it more than that album. But not that much more. So I'm going to put it right here with the Callie Malone. And right between Lux and Callie Malone. That feels right to me. If you haven't heard the Ulcerate album and you like any kind of extreme metal, you have to. It is so atmospheric without sacrificing any of the heft and aggression that makes death metal so good. Just also the best songwriting in a death metal album since like Death's Symbolic. Like it's that good. We're on that level with it. All right, we've had a few people mention this band, Unwound, who I prefer Sonic Youth. I said Sonic Youth is like my favorite band right now. Unwound is going also quite high though. It's still going to be in the bottom half, but I think it's going to go with like, it's going to go above, oh, I got rid of it. It's going to go above Painkiller, below the Luigi Nono piece. Uh-oh, the classical music is starting to see the end of its lifetime, I think. Oh, that's... I'm gonna give it a shot. One of them might make it, we'll see. Oh, but looking at some of these other things, maybe not. This one's probably not gonna make the whole list. I have not quite gotten into Tom Waits yet. I understand the appeal. I love the appeal. I love the appeal. I love a lot of his music, but none of it has like really blown me away yet, except for his debut Closing Time, which is just one of the best blues albums ever, one of the best like piano-driven singer-songwriter albums ever. It's also his most normal album, so I need to like kind of... I'm trying to come to terms with how Tom Waits operates, and it's taken some time, and I think I'm getting there. Closing Time is still my favorite. I think I'm not going to end up having it make the list. I don't like it more than Ram by Paul McCartney, so it's not going to make it. Also, probably not going to make it is the Kamasi Washington album from this year, Fearless Movement, which was fantastic, but I had it lower than some other albums from this year that have already said goodbye to this list. But one of the best jazz albums I've ever heard. Really fantastic, really excellent collaborations all over this thing. This one might make the list. Weakling, Dead as Dreams. If it makes the list, it's probably going to get cut pretty soon. In fact, I probably like it more than Dark Life, but not more than these classical albums, so I think I'm not even going to... Sure, let me just put it there. It's going to say goodbye. But if you haven't heard this, it's probably the best American black metal album of that kind of second wave of black metal. There are black metal albums I prefer, like this one and this one, but this is up there as one of the best. All right. And then another one that's probably not going to make it. Wednesday, Rat Saw God. Amazing, like, alt-country noise rock album. A fusion that shouldn't work, but does absolutely perfectly. I haven't really gone back to this since making my year-end list of 2023. I still think of it very fondly, and I saw them live. I saw them open for Unwound this year, and they were great there, but Unwound kind of blew them out of the water, as is expected. So Wednesday probably not going to make the list, but you know who is going to make the list? The Weeknd. No, Ween. Give it to me. um, I guess I just have to see it mixed in with all of this. The Weeknd. That's a little bit, a little bit obnoxious. Um, so I think my favorite is still Quebec. Um, Live albums included their Live at Stubbs one from 2000 is amazing, um, but probably not going to pass Quebec. Quebec is just like one of the best rock albums ever made. It's going right up. It's going here next to Ghost Tropic and When the Pawn. The famous singer of Ween, Abel. Yeah. um Not gonna make the list. Shout out Weezer Blue. There are very few better made alt rock albums from the 90s, but I don't think I like it more than anything here. I have not listened to The College Dropout by Kanye West in a very long time because of things, so it's also probably not going to make the list. But I do still have a really special place in my heart for that album in spite of everything. But I don't want to put it here. What I do want to put here, Wicked Farleys, who, if you have not heard them, are this amazing, super like underground hidden gem 90s band. Amazing like indie rock, kind of lo-fi math pop stuff going on here. I love how weird the vocals are and how strange the rhythms are while still maintaining catchy songs over top of them. Also, amazing album art. Let me see if I can pull it up bigger real quick. Look at that. That's awesome. So yeah, this is making the list. So already Goodbye Weakling. This is going quite high on the list too. I'm probably putting this above Autechre. But yes, if you have not heard this album, absolutely check it out. The album is called Make It It. Did I lose? I lost my page. 1 second. We're also at the end of the list. We're on the final page. There are only a few artists left. One of those being Wingnut Dishwashers Union. But if I decided... So I decided that Mount Erie and microphones counted as the same thing. And with that being the case, I'm also going to decide that Ramshackle Glory and Wingnut Dishwashers Union are going to count as the same thing because they're both just Pat the Bunny. I love both about equally, but I have to give it to Live the Dream. So goodbye Wingnut Dishwashers Union, but amazing. Wire Pink Flag is... making the list. So I guess we're gonna say goodbye to Arvo Part. I'm just gonna put it here though. I think I still prefer a lot of the stuff above it. Yeah, Slint's up. Where is Slint? Good lord, this is difficult to look at now. Am I blind? Where did it go? Oh, here it is. My mouse was like right on it. Ooh, this one's gonna go high. Stevie Wonder. So Stevie Wonder has multiple classics, Talking Book, Songs in the Key of Life. For me, Inner Visions is so flawless. It is so tight. And every single song is among the greatest, best written songs of all time. Soul is like maybe the best genre of music, realistically. And I think this album is the perfect encapsulation of why that is. So we're going to say goodbye to Music for 18 Musicians, and I'm going to throw this right all the way up with Speak for Yourself. I absolutely love Inner Visions so much. Speaking of artists I love so much, probably one of, like, is probably in my top 3 favorite working musicians right now, Billy Woods, who has several perfect records. I think these top 4 are all perfect, and I think this one's not far behind Church. But I have said it before, and I'm gonna stick to it. I think Maps is my favorite hip-hop album. Like, just point blank, period. So we're gonna say goodbye to Jason Isbell. And we're gonna stick this... Ooh. Here. This feels good to me. This feels right. Yeah, Maps, amazing record, fantastic, perfect record. And Billy Woods, the best rapper of all time. Like, I fully, wholeheartedly believe that. So. Oh, man. Shoo shoo. Oh, thank God. This one actually censors it, so I don't have to worry about my stream. Shoo shoo. One of the best bands of all time, and they have a lot of amazing records. I love all of the stuff I've heard from them. But A Promise is top 3. Where in this top 3, I don't know. But it's top 3. It's top 2. Oh. It's top 2. It's I'm gonna leave it here. I'm gonna put it at number 2. Because Dummy is still like... Man, I don't know. This whole top 5 is basically interchangeable, I think. 13-inch, their new Shoo Shoo album is the best thing they've done since this. It's their second best album, I think. Yeah, I think this is going at number 2. When all is said and done, I might take like one more scan over it and make sure I'm not being insane, and I might rearrange some stuff. But I think that's where I'm going with this. Yule, Soft Scars, which was in 2023. It was my number 2 album, just behind this one. And I'm going to hold Closer to that. Speaking of Closer, Goodbye Closer by Joy Division. And put this right here. Above Death Grips, below Nana Grid. Here, below Fun House. One sec, sorry. Oh yeah, Soft Scars. I adore this record. One of the best dream pop albums ever. I love Yule's vocals. They're such ear candy to me. And the songwriting is just perfect. Like, it's the perfect dream pop album to me. Yeah, so that is gonna go there. We are actually almost done. I think we have 4 more albums. Yola Tango, who I talked about in my last Mucor video. I talked about this one, We Can Hear the Heart Beating as One, which is amazing. I love it a lot. But for me, I think I mentioned this in the video, Painful is the nighttime album. Maybe not as much as this Low album, but it is such a beautiful indie rock album. And it does get a little noisy, but the noise stays super subdued and really, like, held back, I guess. I don't know. Oh, man. Now I'm looking at the stuff that's near the bottom here. We're going to be saying goodbye, I think, to at least these three. But yeah, Yola Tango, amazing. Listen to... Did I skip Modest Mouse? When did I do that? Thank you for... Who mentioned that? Grimooze, thank you. Wow. How did I miss that? Oh, it's because the album cover, I guess, looks similar to the model actress. But yeah, hang on. Thank you. Modest Mouse. The moon in Antarctica is going right up here. Goodbye, System of a Down. Sorry. But yeah, this is... The moon in Antarctica actually might go here. The moon in Antarctica is as life-changing to me, I think, as the other albums in here. Like, that album, listening to that album when I would go... I talk about this all the time, but, like, I would go for walks during COVID at, like, 2 in the morning, just when the streets were completely dead, and just listen to music. And this was the one that, like, completely altered my life. So yeah, this is the best Modest Mouse album. This one's close, this one's close, this one's close. Like, they are one of the best bands of all time, but The Moon in Antarctica just means an unbelievable amount to me. And it's a shame that it has one of the ugliest album covers of all time. All right, almost done. Let's go Hiroshi Yoshimura with Music for 9 Postcards, which I've gone on record and said that this is my favorite ambient album of all time. So of course it's making the list, and it's going very high. It is going with KO Dot. In fact, actually, now that I'm looking, I'm going to put Pop 2 above Backwash. And that feels a little more comfy to me. This seems a little better to me. Okay. Yeah, Hiroshi Yoshimura, Music for 9 Postcards, the most beautiful ambient album ever made. It is so simple. It is just a single electronic keyboard, but it is played, like, to utter perfection. Like, there is not a single millisecond that needs to be changed on this album. It is the best atmosphere an album has ever created for me, I think. Which is all you could... That's all you can ask for from an ambient album, really. You know? Like, it is... If it's all about atmosphere, then you better be making the best atmosphere of all time. And I think it does. Alright. We are almost done. There are 2 more albums I want to talk about, both of which are making the list. So, first of all, Faye Wong. Goodbye, Sophie. We are going with... If you have not listened to any Faye Wong music, she is one of the most, like... She's started getting bigger on, like, in, like, online music spaces in recent years. But you have to give her discography a chance. Everything I've heard from her is excellent. I don't remember most of these names because they're not in English. They're in Chinese. They're in Mandarin. I believe it's Mandarin, not Cantonese. Fuzhou is an absolute must. Probably the best starting point. But for me, Yuyan from 2000, further evidence that 2000 is one of the best years for music. I adore this thing. It is so good. It is beautifully moving between like this artsy kind of dream pop and really crazy like crossover classical music, like almost like James Bondy stuff, and her vocals are unbelievable. You owe it to yourself to give this album a listen. Also, once again, let me pull this up. One of my favorite album covers ever. It's so simple, but it's just like perfect. Everything about it is so good. I love the color of the blue. I love her makeup. Yeah, listen to this album, please. Hi, welcome back. We have one album left after this Faye Wong album. I'm going to move this quite high. I love this album a hell of a lot, to the point where I'm going to put it between La Dispute and Nick Drake. All right. Last album. Ichiko Aoba. One of the best musicians currently working. Such a perfect discography. There is no wrong pick of any of these to have as your favorite. It's really a toss-up between like 5 of them for me at any given point. I love Windswept at Dawn. I love QP. For me, though, this might be like an underrated pick. This is one that I don't see a lot of people say as their favorite, but I love Utabiko. Utabiko, the green one, is just like her tightest songwriting ever, and it manages to be incredibly ambitious while still maintaining that real simplicity that all of these color albums have, where it's just her and her classical guitar and nothing else. But within those restrictions, she's able to craft such expansive worlds. I want you all, after this stream, to go listen to the song Imperial Smoketown from this album and have your mind blown. It is probably in my top 10 favorite songs of all time. It is perfect, and Ichiko Aoba is one of the greatest artists of all time. And I'm going to put her right here between Pop 2 and Backwash. And with that, I think that's the Topster. I don't have anything else to add, so let me take a little scan over this and make sure that none of these rankings feel super out of place. But at first glance, I feel pretty happy with this. When I upload it, I'm going to include titles, yes. But if I do it right here, look at this. I can't even read that. The stream resolution, there's no way you're going to be able to read that. So, yeah, what do you guys think? Do you guys see anything that looks woefully out of place? Make me justify some of my rankings so that I can like feel more secure in them. Because I feel like there's gotta be something I'm missing. Or something that's wrong here. I guess this means that officially this Boris and Merzbow record is my favorite live album ever, if I'm not mistaken. Which doesn't feel wrong to me. No, I think my favorite live album ever is the Jeff Rosenstock one, but because I like Worry More, that one is taking the spot. Yeah, so this is the King Gizzard live album. Where is it? Here. I already justified my inclusion of that yesterday. I just think it is the best version of basically every song in their discography, played like perfectly and improved upon every single time. Unwound and At the Drive-In should be higher. I I'm gonna move At the Drive-In up. I think I'm gonna leave Unwound where it is. I'm gonna move At the Drive-In up just a little bit to right here. That feels good to me. Did I talk about... So I didn't talk about the Silver Mount Zion album. I love that album. The one from 2000. What's the title again? Something about he left us in our rooms with light gleaming through. I decided that I wasn't going to include it for the same reason I didn't include Mount Erie and Wingnut Dishwashers Union, because they are basically the same band as Godspeed. I figured they wouldn't fit nicely. And also, I don't want, like, the main reason I do that is I don't want to cut off these bottom picks. Like, I want a broader variety to really, like, show the music I like. And so it would feel wrong to include multiple basically side projects of a band for this. So I think I'm happy with this. I'm gonna leave it just a sec. Yeah, put Meteor at the top. Done. Now it's perfect. Where was it? Here? Yeah. Shut the fuck up, Hi Hi. Oh man. Would have taken Mr. Thug Isolation is great. Mr. Thug Isolation is not my second favorite Lil Ugly Mane album, though. Well, because Uneven Compromise is not an album, but I'm including EPs and stuff. My favorite Lil Ugly Mane album is Uneven Compromise, which I love how dark and noisy and abrasive that record is, and I think it is his best rapping performance and his best lyrical performance. I love that album a whole lot. It's one of my like prized vinyl possessions. In fact, now that I am done this Topster, like this stream, I'm not going to do anything else. I might make like a game Topster or a movie Topster, because I've still got time. I've still got a lot longer than yesterday. In a future stream, I was thinking of maybe doing kind of like a vinyl show off, just like showing off some cool records I own and talking about them. It wouldn't last nearly as long as this stream and yesterday's stream, but it feels fun, and I've always wanted to make some kind of like video or content related to my record collection, because it is by far my biggest financial investment in anything in my life. But making camera video content is so much more effort, and I don't think people would actually watch it to make it worth my time. So if I were to do it live unedited, I think it would be a lot more sustainable to me. I would need to figure out a solution for a better webcam, because obviously I can't show you my webcam because it's what's making the video, but I am using a Ubisoft webcam that was for a Wii game that I don't even remember. It was some shovelware Wii game. So, and it works fine. It's like 720p. I hope I don't look too crusty in the feed. It looks fine to me. But yeah, I am using the most unhinged webcam setup ever right now. So if I were to do like vinyl show off and stuff like that, I would need a better camera. So I would need to figure out... I actually have... Where did it end up? Does anyone know? I have the PlayStation 5 camera. It has a USB connection, but I couldn't figure out how to get it to actually work on my PC. So if anyone knows how to get it to work, I looked at a couple guides and none of them made sense to me. If anyone knows how to get them to work, DM me on Twitter and let me know how, because I don't get it. Game Boy camera stream would go hard. I gotta figure that out. That's the real one I gotta figure out. So yeah, I think I'm gonna download it without titles, and then I'm going to add titles later. It's gonna take a second to export because it's a big image. So give that a second. Okay, yeah, hi. Hit me up if you know, if you can figure out how to do it, cuz I was looking at and trying to make heads or tails of some of the guides, but they were all like way more complicated than I feel like it should have been. Like, I feel like it should just be install a driver, but I don't know why it wasn't. So yeah, I'm hopeful that I can get that figured out, because this is gonna be obviously a better camera than my Wii webcam from some Ubisoft game. But yeah, so let's let this download, and then when it's done, I've got a little more time. There's a live version of Llama's Effigy. Oh, right, yeah, there is on YouTube, I believe. I haven't watched it, actually. While this did this download? Did this go? It did. So now let me show titles. Download like that. And while it does that, I am going to go to Letterboxd. Because, oh, hi Cublix, you are here at the perfect time because I finished the Topster. Topster 3 does take a billion years to download. So, I finished the Topster, but now, is it only on YouTube? I don't know. I just know that it is on YouTube. Let's make a new one. Boundo Movie Topster, because I never get to talk about movies, because the thing with movies is, like, I don't watch them. I guess that's just end of the sentence. Like, I don't watch movies very often. So I don't feel like I have the right set of skills and set of knowledge to properly convey what I feel about movies, but I love them. Like, I'm big into movies when I'm watching them, but I don't have time to get invested in them as I have with music and video games. Like, one of those things would have to go if I were to get big into movies. So how many movies should I do? Because as it stands, I have 47 5-star movies. So should I do a top 50? Like, does this seem right? Do you have me on Letterboxd? If you don't, I'm going to post my Letterboxd right here, right now, in the chat. Five by 5 for movies? All right, vote in the chat. 5 by 5 or 5 by 10? Indiana Jones 3. I have only seen the first Indiana Jones. Forgive me. All right. right, so let me, while I wait for you guys to vote, I'm going to sort by film name. 5x5 or I'll never finish, you're right. Okay. So, in that case, let's just get started. With, I've just got them alphabetical, and I'm going to do the same thing where I'm just going to put them on the list until it fills out and rank them as I go, and then the bottom one will always get cut off if I add something else to the list. All right. Basic, you're going to see kind of really basic picks for a lot of these, but 12 Angry Men is, oh, where's the real one? Come on, is this it? Why is it in color? What is making why is it in color? This is it? No. Oh god. Do I have to have this be the... No. Alright, hang on. Do I really have to do this? Copy image address. Custom. Image link. 12 Angry Men. Christ. I hope I don't have to do that every time, because if I do, it's going to be obnoxious. Alright. 2001, A Space Odyssey has one of the scariest scenes I've ever seen in a non-horror movie. It's like, you know the one, if I say Yellow Spaceman, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. And the rest of the movie is also amazing. Like, it's the kind of thing where it's like, you always want to say like, Stanley Kubrick, overrated, whatever, but like, you kind of can't, because all of the movies actually are good. What, Harry? What? Alright. Akira. Banger. One of the best anime films ever. There is not a lot you could say about it, but I do wish we got kind of like body horror animation like this. I know this is like putting OK Computer in my Topster. I don't watch movies. Yeah, there's not a lot you can say about Akira. I wish we got more like fleshy animation like what happened in the back half. Like, I wish we had that more often in movies now. And yeah, just a classic. There was a Blade album on my Topster. There was Ice Dancer. All right. Next up, so I'm also, instead of one per artist or like one per director here, that doesn't make sense to me, especially because I haven't watched that many movies. So instead, I am going to do like one per series, which will make sense in a second. But right now, let's just go Alien. It's a classic. It's like there's a reason it is kind of the original in its scene and the one that everyone kind of goes to. None of the other movies since have been as good. I love Aliens and I love Alien 3, but nothing has ever captured what this movie does. We're kind of in the basic picks now, but it will get more interesting, I promise. Oh, hopefully you didn't hear that car honk. So, I love the Before movies. What do we think about Before Sunrise versus Before Sunset? Because for me, top of my head, I think I prefer Before Sunset. I hate this poster. Hang on. That's better. Before Sunset. Yeah, they're both perfect to me, but I think on top of Sunset, on top of being like a marginally better movie, I think it is also just so much more of a feat, so much more of an achievement to have pulled off. And it's just perfect. It is probably the best romance movie. No. I can't say that. And you'll see why later, or you'll see now if you're looking at my Letterboxd. But Before Sunset, going up above Alien, all of that. See you later, Pighead. It's late at night where you are. Where are you? Where is it late at night right now? Anyways. Alright, let's speed it up. Do I include only one Ghibli movie? I know I said, like, not one per director, but there are several 5-star Ghibli movies. So should I just include one Ghibli movie? Do we count that as similar to a series? Did I watch Lighthouse? Yes, I did. Oh, in France. So I guess it's also late where you are. Hi. So yeah, multiple Ghibli or one Ghibli. It doesn't matter. While you guys debate that, my namesake... Bound. My namesake. The movie by the Wachowski sisters before they did The Matrix. I adore this movie. It is so much fun. It is so well directed. The characters are so memorable. I have watched this movie so many times and it never, ever gets boring. Ever. It is so good. I'm putting this right up here. It is my favorite action movie, my favorite, like, thriller movie or anything like that. Like, unbelievably good. Alright, what did we decide on Ghibli? Let's see. One. Alright, I had one person answer my question and they said one Ghibli. So, with that being the case, my favorite Ghibli is Castle in the Sky, which is... a lot of it is because it was the first one I ever watched. But this movie has so much heart to it. I love this movie makes me feel so many things just from the visuals. Not to mention the characters are so fun. They're so funny too. And yeah, I love this movie a lot. I'm gonna put it up next to 12 Angry Men. I love this movie so much. Chungking Express is the only Wong Kar-wai I've seen, and I love it. I've seen it a couple times now. I never remember it as well as I would hope. But every time I am watching it, it is like utter bliss. So it's gonna stay right here with Akira. And next we'll go Come and See, which is fucked up. If you have watched Come and See, you know I don't need to say anything about it. I have no intentions of really ever coming back to it, so I don't think I'm gonna put it super high, but it is a perfect movie, and a perfect, like, anti-war movie, obviously. Let's go Funeral, Parade of Roses. I talked earlier about Les Réalisés des Nudes, and they feature heavily in this movie, which is also one of the most beautiful and haunting depictions of queer existence out there. It is very at this it is on the one hand extremely direct in what it is saying and its themes, and on the other hand it is so obtuse and difficult and abstract, but the way those two opposite sides coalesce is into this really strikingly accurate depiction of queer and trans existence. Yeah, Les Réalisés des Nudes is in Funeral Parade of Roses very very obviously. They are very pivotal to the movie. So this is going to go quite high. This is probably going to go... This might even go above Castle in the Sky. I love this movie a lot. Get Out has grown off me a little bit, but I still think it's perfect. Just, like... It was one of the first movies that was like, oh, this is really scary, and there is nothing scary happening. It's also just like the not even subtext, or just the text that a lot of people miss is really intriguing and interesting. I'm not going to put it higher than most of these things, because it grown off me is strong, but it just like I haven't felt the urge to come back to it. But movies that I have felt the urge to come back to. You guys ever seen this one, Megan or Glasses? This is ambient music as a movie. It is so heartfelt and so calming and so beautiful. Some of the best shot cinematography ever, and like it is character driven, but not in... It is character driven, but not plot driven. Like, I don't remember what happens in this movie, and I don't care, because it is just a world to exist in, and it is one of the best worlds to exist in I've ever seen. It's pretty hard to come across, but if you can get your hands on it, I think you can buy the Blu-ray, which is region free. But otherwise, I'm not actually sure how you can watch this. This is going to be a bold take. No, never mind. We're not doing one per director. Screw that. Y'all seen... oh, boy. I guess this is the... I don't like this cover for it as much. The Host poster. The Host by Bong Joon-ho from 2007 is... I'm going to be completely real. I might like this more than Parasite. It is his monster movie. It is incredibly goofy, but it is still, like, incredibly heartfelt. Like, you do really get to know the characters in it on a level that forces you to, even when this, like, really crappy CGI'd monster comes in and kills them, like, it should be funny because it is so, like, poorly animated, but it's not, because they really put all their chips on these characters and their relationships to each other. So, The Host by Bong Joon-ho is going up here with Before Sunset. Yeah, no, The Host is funny a lot of the time, but it is also really sad, and also, like, very, very, very obvious in its political commentary, which I appreciate, especially when it is doing it in such a funny critique way that still forces you to feel for the actual people involved. House. What? There's no way it's going to make me type this. God damn it. Embarrassing. Also, get this off my screen. There's something else there. Up here. Up here. I love this movie. I think it has maybe my favorite soundtrack to a film ever. It is just beautiful. And especially knowing what it's like about, like what the director was channeling when he created it, gives it this really, really sad feeling to go alongside the comedy of what's actually like directly happening in front of your face. it is a very goofy and silly movie that becomes so much more than that when you come to terms with what it's actually doing. So I love it. I love it a lot. In this corner of the world, I don't know if anyone's seen this one. It is one of my partner's favorite movies. It's an anime movie about kids living through World War II, and I think I like it more than Grave of the Fireflies for that. Slightly. They are both perfect, but I am including only one Ghibli movie. But a goofy movie, you say. Is House better than Jaws? I have not seen Jaws. Okay, in this corner of the world is beautiful and also has the most like well executed, well planned, horrible, like cruelest gut punch I have ever seen in a movie. Like going into it it's gonna be sad, but the way they play on that, the way they use that, the fact that it's gonna be sad is like absolutely devastating. So if you like Grave of the Fireflies or just sad anime movies, I do recommend this one a lot. Next up, there's gonna be music movies on my Topster because music is my main thing. And The Last Waltz, the live album from the band, is absolutely incredible as someone who doesn't know any of the band's music outside of The Last Waltz. It is just a perfect performance. It is shot so beautifully. The way that they intersperse the documentary bits is fantastic. And it really gives this sense of momentum to the piece. Not to mention all the guests who show up for it, like Neil Young and Emmylou Harris and Joni Mitchell. It's just one of the best concert films ever. It would be the best if not for one that I'll talk about soon. Let's go The Last Waltz above Alien. The Lighthouse. People were asking about this before. It's probably Egger's best film. I haven't seen Nosferatu yet. I am hoping to tomorrow, I think. I have not seen The Thing either. I don't watch movies. But yeah, The Lighthouse I did watch, and it's fantastic. And it's probably... Oh, I didn't actually rank In This Corner of the World. I'm going to put it above Get Out. And I'm probably going to put The Lighthouse above Get Out as well. The Lighthouse is perfectly executed and a lot of fun, but I don't necessarily feel as much from it as some of the other movies here. So The Lighthouse is probably going to get bumped down off the list eventually, but for right now it is here. And I'm going to go Lord of the Rings. All three are excellent, but The Two Towers is my favorite. I love the storylines being told here, and it really disproves the idea that that the second thing in a trilogy has to be all set up, no payoff. And yeah, I think it's just the best. It's the best entry in one of the best film trilogies ever. So I'm gonna put it, oh man, above Come and See. Monster. You guys seen Monster by Koreeda? This was from 2023, I believe. I think, yeah, I watched it, and December 2023 is when it came out, and I believe it is Ryuichi Sakamoto's final score, which already, I was not ready to see. Rest in peace. Sorry, my brain is falling asleep. I've been streaming longer than I thought I would be. I was not ready to see Rest in Peace Ryuichi Sakamoto. But on top of that, the film itself is so touching. It plays a lot with perspective and the orders in which you see things. Like the order in which you see events take place from different perspectives. And they execute that so perfectly. And the whole idea of Monster, the title, is like paid off in one of the most fascinating ways I've ever seen a movie pay off its core, like its title. So that's going up high. That's probably going to go above Megan. I have not seen Yi Yi yet. That's like really high on my list though. Oh, we were going alphabetical and I missed like one of my favorite movies ever. The Beast from this year, or La Bête in French, is one of those movies that I cannot describe anything about. I can't even tell you what it made me feel, but it is the widest range of emotions I have ever felt from a movie. I love it so much. I show it to everyone I talk to. I force to watch this movie because it is unbelievably good. If you like Mulholland Drive, then to me, this is Mulholland Drive, but even better and doing a whole lot of different actual like narrative things. But it maintains a similar aesthetic. Moonlight, beautiful movie. Excellent queer story that also plays with time in really interesting and heartfelt ways. This one I'm going to put... Also plays with perspective like Monster did. I'm going to put it here. See you later, Asif Jerry. Speaking of Mulholland Drive, also an amazing movie. My favorite David Lynch thing that isn't the Twin Peaks show. I'm going to put it above Megan. And then I'm just gonna blast through this because I do actually have to go, but I do want to finish this first, so let's go. A little bit of a basic pick, but it's that good. End of Evangelion. I saw the TV Glow, and I did love it, but it's not like... I think it's messy in some really interesting ways. Like, it's a very messy movie. And I think a lot of the ways that it is messy work, and a lot of the ways that it is messy don't. And I think it like, the positives way outweigh the negatives, but there aren't no negatives, you know? End of Evangelion, I'm probably going to put above The Last Waltz. There's not too much to say about it. You have to watch the show first. Old Boy. Banger. I saw this in theaters in New York when I went, and I loved it. It is so much fun until it is not. Where will I put it, though? Let's put it above Two Towers. We are more than halfway through Parasite. I already said I like The Host more than Parasite, but Parasite is a perfect movie. I think it is probably going here for me. Someone mentioned Paris, Texas. That is the lowest resolution, worst poster. Hang on. Not to mention the original poster is so good. I'm in blank. Paris, Texas. Yeah, someone said this was their favorite movie, and it's up there for me. It is so like, not only is it so good as a whole, like, the whole thing is utterly perfect. I love how it is very clearly structured in acts that allows it to explore different things in each section of the movie, but also it has the best scene in a movie. Like, point blank period. I have never seen a scene better, and I've never even seen a scene that is close to as good as the 20-minute, like, penultimate scene in the movie is. I adore Paris, Texas. But it's probably not going to pass Bound because that's my namesake, you know? Perfect Days, from last year, I believe, it has, also by Wim Wenders, same person who made Paris, Texas. Similar to Megan, very much a mood piece, very much ambient music as a film. But not only that, the way it uses licensed music is the best I have ever seen it executed. Like, it has the best needle drops in all of film, and I think especially the final needle drop of the film is like the biggest gut punch I have ever felt by a song I know being played. Like, it is devastating, but at the same time, like, the whole movie is very low key. There's not a lot happening in the movie, and that is what makes it so beautiful, I think. So I'm gonna put this, I think I like it more than Moonlight. I love this movie a lot. Let's keep going with, ooh, this might be my number one. Portrait of a Lady on Fire is, I accidentally almost said it about Before Sunset. Portrait of a Lady on Fire is the best romance movie ever made, and it's not close for me. The only thing that comes close is Before Sunset, but Portrait of a Lady on Fire, I'm sorry, in this corner of the world, I love you, but Portrait of a Lady on Fire is the most beautifully shot film I've ever seen, the greatest chemistry I have ever seen between actors on screen, and just every single thing about it is seemingly, like, designed to completely shatter my heart. It is such a life-affirming piece of film. I love it a lot. Next, I've actually only seen one Akira Kurosawa film, and it is Rashomon, which there's actually a fair few movies here, I guess, that play with perspective, like Monster, and how different perspectives can, how the order in which you hear things can change your perspective on things. I think Rashomon actually, I think Monster does it better than Rashomon, but Rashomon is a beautiful movie that I love a lot, and is going right there. Here's a kind of basic but absolutely amazing pick. RoboCop is, yeah, it's gonna make the list. Oh no, of course it's gonna make the list. Actually, this is probably my favorite of the kind of big 80s movies, like the your Terminators, whatever. I think RoboCop is not only just a great movie front to back in terms of just how fun it is to watch. I also love how fearlessly it does its commentary. I adore RoboCop. I'm even gonna put it above The Host. RoboCop's awesome. RoboCop is as good as they say. This is going to make the list, but it's probably going to get bumped off towards the end. Sorry to bother you. One of the most fun movies that you can see. Sorry, Chunking Express. Probably going to go right here. Sorry to Bother You is so much fun. It is so silly, but it is also, similar to RoboCop, very bold and very clear in its messaging. What are my thoughts on Satan Tango? You think you could barely get me to listen to an 8-hour album that I love. You're not gonna get me to watch a 7.5-hour movie. Hi. No, Sorry to Bother You, so much fun. Some of the best comedic acting I've ever seen in a film, and also again just like the boldness and like lack of restraint on its messaging is super fun. Now, let's go Stop Making Sense. You knew this was going to be here, and this is going right up. Is it going above? No. No, it's not going to go above Paris, Texas. But not only is Stop Making Sense the best concert film ever, the best recorded music visual ever, but it is also just a great movie. Like, there is such a palpable drama to the performance. With not a single word outside of the lyrics, they are conveying so much with how the camera is used, how the lighting is used, how the interplay between the musicians is just naturally forming. Such an incredible piece of art. And it just so happens to be using the greatest band of all time to do it. Suspiria, another fantastic soundtrack. I haven't seen I think it's 2018. I haven't seen this one yet, but I can't imagine it would surpass the original for me. I think this movie is so much fun. When I saw this movie in theaters with Goblin playing the music live, and it is just so, like, the music is such a huge part of what makes this movie tick. But on top of that, like, the first time I watched it, what I remembered was the visuals and the soundtrack. But on rewatch, I got really invested in the actual story that's being told here, and I find it super heartwarming and emotional. I think I'm even gonna put this above Evangelion. I love this movie. Oh, how do you spell this? Synecdoche, New York. Let's see that. Boom. This is one of those movies that I definitely want to rewatch, but I think I watched it under weird circumstances, because I watched it with my new roommates, and they had hyped it up as this movie that, like, you can never understand. There's too many layers, you'll never know what's happening. And that felt like such a mischaracterization of the movie to me when I actually watched it, because what really is so fantastic about Synecdoche, New York, is that it is telling you to stop giving a shit. You have to let it go. Let these things pass you by, because you will never see all the details in it. And that has to be okay. And so that's what I love so much about it. I think it's gonna kill Sorry to Bother You. It's not gonna go too high. It's probably gonna pass. It's gonna pass The Last Waltz, let's say. So it is gonna make the final list, because I only have 3 more films left, and then I'm gonna end the stream. Titan. Goodbye, old boy. Titan is... Ooh, hoo, 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 hoo. Hoo, 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 hoo. Ooh, hoo, 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 hoo. I love Titan so fucking much, dude. I don't know how to even start describing this. It is such a beautiful, like... So the concept of Titan is absurd. It is nuts. It is ridiculous. And none of that matters. I mean, it all matters, but none of that, like, can detract from how heartfelt of a movie it is. It has so much heart and soul in it, and such a care for the characters here that, like, nothing else can stand in its way. I watch this movie at least once a year since it came out, and I probably will forever. I don't know. So, Harry, I don't know if it is better than Portrait, because I think Portrait is maybe the best movie ever made. But Titan is probably my favorite movie ever made. So that's where I'm at. Let's go Videodrome. It's a classic. It's Cronenberg's best that I've seen, and I've seen most of his like big ones. Oh, but do I want to? No, ooh. Damn. Actually, hang on. I'm gonna kill Alien. I think Rashomon's gonna end up going Rashomon's definitely gonna end up going too. Videodrome is one of the first kind of like experimental movies I ever saw, and I feel like that's a pretty standard case for a lot of people. But it still stands up as one of the best. It still feels very relevant to this day. And I'm gonna put it there. Picking Hard Day's Night for the Beatles. I'm picking Rashomon for Kurosawa because I haven't seen any other Kurosawa. Yeah, Videodrome slaps. I'm gonna kill Alien, the guys from Alien. God damn it. Alright. It's time for the last movie. Young Girls of Rochefort. This is a French musical. Okay, maybe not that high. Man, Young Girls of Rochefort is one of the most perfect pieces of film that exists. And I just... It is the best looking movie, maybe the best looking movie I've ever seen. What I love so much about this movie is the fact that despite the fact that it is all in French, and like musicals already don't really work for me very much, but musicals in a language I don't understand are even harder because I have to be reading subtitles, and translated lyrics don't work usually. But with this movie, the translation work, first of all, where I saw it in theaters. Like, the translation, whichever subtitles they were using, are utterly perfect. Somehow they made, like, the lyrics rhyme and work. And as someone who understands French, nothing was lost. So, first of all, translation job, amazing. But what I love about this movie is how it stands on so many precipices. Like, it stands right between classical and jazz musically. It stands right between film and theater as like in its form. And the big thing is, like, emotionally, it is standing right on the cusp at any given point between hope and hopelessness. It is so, for as kind of slice of life as its actual storyline is, there is so much emotional weight to every single thing. Every single thing feels so heartfelt. Every single thing feels so powerful. And as I am talking about this, I am realizing I have to move this up. Yeah, it is the most surprised I have ever been by a movie too, because I didn't know what I was getting into when I saw it, and it is just amazing. It is... everything just collides at every given point, and I don't know. It's a masterpiece. It is such a beautiful piece of music and cinema. Like, it would make sense for me, as the person whose favorite thing is music, that my favorite movie would be also music. So I think this is my Topster. This is where I'm at. What do you guys think? Let's this one I don't need to save without the text because the text is so small. But yeah, what are we feeling on Boundo Core films? I'm gonna let it. I'm gonna let the chat go for a little bit, and then I am going to go make myself dinner. Hands up. Is that a positive or a negative? Haven't watched any of these movies? Not even RoboCop? Okay, you've seen 12 Angry Men and Stop Making Sense. They're amazing. I gotta do the game Topster. I know, I wish I could have had time to do it today. Maybe next time. So next stream, so how this is gonna work, for everyone who's still here, I want to stream more often, but I don't want to just play video games, because that doesn't really make sense for me, just for my channel identity and everything. So that doesn't mean I'm never going to play video games, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to be asking my patrons in the Discord what they think I should stream. So if you want to have input on what I do when I stream, which I want to stream at least once a month, probably going to be even more often than that, hopefully. If you want to be the one who tells me what I'm going to stream, then you can sign up for my Patreon for it's $3 a month, but if you just pay one time, you're never going to get booted. Like, I'm not going to kick anyone out for stopping paying. Like, money is money, whatever. But that's what you get, is you get to, on top of be part of the community and get, like, some occasional unscripted videos. The main thing is now I want you guys to help me choose what I am streaming and how I do this, because it's new to me. I am not used to streaming and just talking to a camera. I'm used to streaming and talking to my friends while I play a game. So this is a new thing for me, and I am glad people are tuning in and enjoying it, hopefully. So yeah, I'm going to call it a day for now, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your night, rest of your week, rest of your month, rest of your life. But not rest of your year. No, that has to suck. Okay. Bye!